to improving our low light photography capabilities. Let me use an analogy. If you were capturing water in a bucket, you'd want the buckets to be as large as possible. Larger buckets, more water. The analogy applies to light and photography and pixel size as well. The larger the pixel size, the more light we can capture. And the 1.55 micron pixels those are large buckets. In fact, at this pixel size, we can capture 92% more light than the original Nexus 6. Larger pixel size at a given density has a couple of other benefits as well. It allows us to run shorter exposure time, which means there's less motion blur, fewer handshake artifacts, and it has a Sony imaging sensor as well. Now, this was originally designed for camcorders and digital cameras. It's unprecedented in a mobile phone. The second camera enhancement on the Nexus camera is a closed-loop autofocus technology. It's optimized for low light. We use something called an LDAF, a laser detect autofocus system. This uses a time-of-flight infrared laser to enable instant autofocus of nearby objects. The third enhancement this year is around the HDR plus computational photography. We've iterated on this, we've improved it, we've actually added in a mode where HDR plus kicks in automatically in low light conditions. So let's compare a couple of photos, a couple of these devices. Here's the Nexus 6P, the Nexus 6, and the iPhone 6s Plus. Here's 23 minutes after sunset. And you can see the pictures have maybe little idiosyncrasies, the differences between them, but they're all good pictures, relatively the same. Interesting things happen, though, when you fast forward to a darker period, let's say 37 minutes after sunset. Now you can see some of the differences emerge, thanks to the larger pixels capturing more light. With the 6P, you can see more detail. If you punch in, you'll see more detail, clearer resolution, again, in lower light conditions. Now, we've tested the cameras in terms of brightness, detail, noise and graininess, tone mapping, and so forth, and Nexus camera consistently outperforms. Here's a selection of photos that Googlers have taken over the past few weeks as we've been testing the phone out in the wild. And so here's one that shows what's called the bokeh effect. That's where the object at the center of focus is in very clear resolution, very clear detail, while other objects in the background fade into the back to really capture your attention. Here's one in obviously low light conditions. And you can see how dark it is, and yet the filaments in the bulb really shine. They're very crisp and clear, very crisp resolution. Here's one where it's actually very strong illumination. Here's a room with a lot of natural light, and yet you see the colors are not washed out or fading into the background. And here's one that's just a great picture. So it's a shot taken at twilight. I don't think it needs much further explanation. So some other cool camera enhancements for this year. We've added slow motion video. The Nexus 5X can capture up to 120 frames per second. The 6P can do up to 240 frames per second. And I mentioned Nexus, where the hardware and the software are coming together in a very harmonious way. With the Nexus camera and the Google Photos app, you can pick the exact spot in the video where you want to slow down. And of course, both phones support 4K video resolution. We've also added a new feature to the 6P we call Smart Burst. Smart Burst is when you hold down the shutter button to trigger, and the camera will take up to 30 frames per second. Smart Burst will let you create fun animated GIFs, like this one, my friends Jason and Courtney. And it will also automatically select the best image from the burst. Finally, we've made the camera app easier to launch. Just double tap on the power button, and you're good to go. It'll instantly launch the camera app, and you won't miss a moment. I'm pleased to say that the Nexus camera will be available on both the 5X and the 6P. It's a great photography experience on both devices. So that's camera. I'll talk now about Android Sensor Hub. The Sensor Hub is a new, dedicated, low-power processor that connects directly with the phone's sensors and runs Google's unique sensor algorithms. So phones have become very good at answering simple situations like, where am I? What we're trying to get to is more nuanced help, like, how familiar am I with this area? Or what am I doing right now? So answering these questions would normally require processing large amounts of sensor information and would place a huge tax on the battery. The Android Sensor Hub is a way to deal with all of this sensor information in a low-power way in the background, while leaving the main processor alone to rest. The 5X and the 6P use the sensor hub in a couple of innovative ways. For instance, on activity tracking, say you were to go out for a run or bike or exercise, Android Sensor Hub will detect this motion and will start to track the activity without you having to launch an app or turn on your screen. Let me give another example. Notifications, very frequent occurrence. So notifications will be shown in a low power, black and white, in the background kind of way. We call this ambient display. But when you nudge or pick up your phone, the notifications are shown. And you can just touch a notification and it'll engage the phone and come into full power mode. You'll see all of this at our demo area right next door. You can play around with it there. So we're very excited with the Sensor Hub as a way to make your phone smarter and more aware of your surroundings, more contextually relevant, but keeping it stingy on the battery usage. Third hardware enhancement I'll talk about is Nexus Imprint. So this is a new way of unlocking your phone in a more convenient and secure way using your fingerprint. You can also accelerate payments and other sign-in type of processes, other sign-in operations. Setting it up takes literally just a couple of seconds. And once it's set up, your phone can recognize your fingerprint in less than a half a second. It's convenient, secure, has incredibly low false reject rate. The really cool thing is it gets better over time. Most fingerprint sensors will take one initial reading when the device is set up, and then that reading is locked in for the life of the device. Nexus Imprint will actually continue to take readings of your fingerprint the more you use it. So it will get smarter, it will get more accurate over time. To unlock my device with Nexus Imprint, just have to touch the sensor on the back of the phone, instantly comes to life. It's incredibly smooth and lightning fast. So those are some of the hardware enhancements on the 5X and 6P this year. Nexus camera, USB Type-C fast charging, Nexus Imprint, Android Sensor Hub, all available on the 5X and 6P. I'm going to switch gears now and talk about the operating system, the software. So I mentioned at the start that we're always striving to make our operating system better. So I'll talk for a few minutes about the software features of our newest Android release, 6.0, codenamed Marshmallow, and how these features will really shine on the 5X and 6P. You may be aware that every time we come out with a new release of Android, we name it for a sweet treat, cupcake, donut, eclair. So I have to say, Mango Lassi was in the running this year. There was some, I have to say there was some debate. Is it M for mango, L for lassi? Some people were saying it's not even a dessert. So Marshmallow kind of snuck in at the last minute and took the crown. But I'm sure we can come up with more desserts in the future. So, so with Marshmallow, we've gone back to some of the basics and focused on some of the core user experience features, improve them with Marshmallow. Let me run through these and show you what I mean. Starting with the lock screen. So with the lock screen, you always had quick access to the camera. You swipe up from the lower right corner. We've extended that quick access to Google Voice Search and other actions by swiping up from the lower left corner. What will happen is you'll see a material design, reveal animation, and then just say what you want the phone to do. In this case, call Pacino Restaurant. The phone will search for the phone number and make the call. This is a great way of getting done what you need to have done without being disruptive to whatever you're doing. You don't have to go deep into the phone, deep into the apps. We've also added a little charging indicator on the lock screen to show when your phone is in fast charging mode, thanks to USB Type-C. We'll also give you an estimate of how long it's going to take to receive full charge. So now let's unlock the phone. We've reworked the window animations so they're more consistent with the material design principle, whereby when you touch something, it expands outward from the point of touch or interaction. When you touch a launcher icon, it expands outward and dismisses vertically downwards. It just feels intuitive, it feels natural. We've taken great care on our heads-up notifications to simplify how they work. If you receive a heads-up notification, say an incoming text message, it'll peek down with a little bouncing animation to get your attention without disrupting whatever you're doing at the time. You can easily push the notification back to its hiding spot, or you can swipe down to reveal the rest of the notification shade. Now, the physics of notifications are consistent across the device. On the home screen in Marshmallow, we've made it easier to quickly scroll and find an app with a new A through Z indexing scheme. And you can also just start to type in a couple of letters, and the apps will come up. I have to say also, you'll test this out in the demo area, but I have to say the vertical scrolling is a relief for your thumb as well. We've added something called dynamic app sequencing. This is an on-device intelligent prediction engine that learns your pattern of app launches. Over time, as the phone learns your behavior, it's going to show apps you tend to launch at certain times of day, say in the morning versus the evening. Again, the phone gets better the more you use it. You see here, in the morning, I might be inclined to catch up on news with The Economist or look at the morning tweets. Whereas in the evening, I'm more likely to look up restaurant recommendations on Yelp or book a table through OpenTable. Again, this is my phone, so it's personalized to my app usage. But thanks to machine learning and understanding your behavior and how the patterns of how you use the phone, this will be personalized to each individual user, of course. For user permissions, we've radically changed the user permission model. We've greatly simplified the number of permissions that an app can ask for. We're also only asking for permission the first time you try and use a feature instead of during the time of installation. So for example, let's say I launch Twitter, and I want to tweet with an attached location. When I press the location button, a runtime permission will come up, like so. We see this as a much more relevant and intuitive spot. Finally, I'll say, we've heard loud and clear from Android users that they feel that some phones come with too much bloatware pre-installed. So with the new Nexus devices, we've reduced the number of preloaded apps that come on the phone for a cleaner and simpler out-of-box experience. We've also developed a new system that moves about a quarter of the apps to post-setup installation, which means you can uninstall these apps just as you would any other. So those are some of the core user experiences that we've enhanced with Marshmallow. Again, you'll get a chance to really play around with all of these outside. I want to talk for a second about Now on Tap. So this is a new feature we demoed at Google I/O this year. It's launching on the 5X and 6P. Now on Tap is a way to make your phone not just faster, but also smarter. It brings the power of Google search to whatever you're doing on your phone. Just tap and hold the home button to get quick information, quick actions. And this is all without leaving the app you're in. So we don't want to disrupt your experience on the phone. I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm listening to one of my favorite bands, Alt-J. I want to get more information about them. So if I were to press and hold the home button to fire up Now on Tap, you'll see I get Google search results I can go to, or videos of Alt-J on YouTube. And this applies to third-party apps as well. I can go to Twitter and see Alt-J's Twitter feed. Or I can check out what movies Alt-J's music has been used in on IMDb. Again, like many of Google's services, this is based on a machine learning system. It gets smarter, it gets better, it gets more relevant and contextual the more you use it. I'll finish off by talking about battery. So our engineering team has been hard at work optimizing battery life on Android for several years now. And with Marshmallow, we think we've made our biggest breakthroughs to date. We've made Android smarter about how it manages power with something called doze mode. So doze is when a significant motion detection comes into play to learn if a device has been left unattended for a long period of time. In that case, it will exponentially back off background activity and go into a deeper sleep state, while of course being able to respond to real-time messages as they come in. We've also optimized the system to prioritize for apps that you use more frequently over those that you don't. The results in Marshmallow are pretty dramatic. In fact, battery life we're seeing lasts 30% longer than on the original Nexus 5 and Nexus 6 with these enhancements from Marshmallow. These are extraordinary improvement numbers just by improving the software. And of course, the Nexus 5X and 6P will benefit from these enhancements, as they will from all of the other enhancements of Marshmallow. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to our partners, who will tell you more about where you can find each of these great devices. I'd like to start with Amit Gujral. He's head of marketing for LG in India. Amit.
Thanks, Dave. It's been pretty insightful. Hi, friends. I'm being overwhelmed, feeling very happy being on this dais sharing with Google. And I'm sure you are equally excited to be part of India's first ever Nexus launch gathering. This is the first time we are meeting here for the Nexus launch in this country. The Nexus association with LG, as you all know, continues through successful performance of Nexus 4 and Nexus 5. And once again, it's the third time in continuity LG and Google have partnered to deliver the best hardware for Google's most advanced operating system. And we are proud. And we are proud of what we have accomplished together as the all-new LG Google Nexus 5X. As we heard in length, in fact, from Dave, Nexus 5X features the latest, newest Android 6.0 Marshmallow, the Google's newest operating system for mobile devices, which delivers impressive performance, great imaging. We saw a couple of nice pictures here, right? All shot by Nexus devices. And a marvelous security with the fingerprint sensor at the back of the phones. So in a nutshell, I can say it delivers the best of Google and LG's know-how in a single package. We are excited to be able to work with Google yet again on developing the new Nexus 5X. Nexus 5X offers the ultimate functionality in a modern design. As you have seen, it's slimmer, it's brighter, it's lighter, it's more secure and more trendy, and with a fantastic grip. Extremely sorry for this. Slimmer, brighter, lighter, fingerprint sensor at the back, and I said it's fairly comfortable to hold. So I think it's a testimony to the innovation that can be brought together in life or to life when two best of the companies work together for the third time. It's our best Nexus yet. As you see here, the LG Google Nexus 5X is available for pre-booking starting today till about 20th of October at all possible sales channels of the country. Offline or retail chains, all mom-pop stores, online exclusively with 16 gigs version at Amazon.in. Starting October 21st, the Nexus 5X shall be available in Indian markets, both online and offline, at round about more than 3,000 plus shops. In terms of pricing, the LG Google Nexus 5X 16 gigs comes at 31,990. The 32 gigs comes at 35,990. Both versions are unlocked and are ready to perform on all Indian networks, including the 4G LTE of today and tomorrow. The devices will be available in 3 colors inspired by mineral elements: It's no more the black, it's the charcoal. It's not the white, it's quartz. It's no more blue, it's the ice blue mint. By the way, happy Navratri. It's the beginning of festive season in India, right? And we join in the festivities with our consumers. LG Nexus 5X, available for all pre-orders, all early shoppers, with exciting gifts, having a Bluetooth headset worth rupees 2,500 free, a 3,500 cashback once you transact using HDFC Bank credit card, easy EMIs from all leading banks in the country, plus an accidental 6-month warranty additional on the screen damage if it happens, along with manufacturer's 1-year warranty. I'm sure you are excited with the Nexus 5X and the offers. So to end, I can just say and summarize, we are committed. We are committed to live up to the partnership expectations of our consumers to deliver best hardware for Google's most advanced OS yet. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amit. Thank you for your partnership. Next up, let's hear from the Vice President of Sales for Huawei India, Sanjeev.
Thanks, Dave. Good morning, friends from the media. I see a lot of known faces today, and a brilliant presentation by Dave, and also a nice journey of LG partnership. So a little bit about Huawei. We started pretty early in the Android journey back in 2010 with the first launch of an Android phone called Ideos, and it was based on the delicious eclair, and thereafter upgraded to frozen yogurt. I'm sure it's going to put a lot of smiles here because since then the Android has actually just changed this market in India, and Android has just taken to storm the Indian market. So from 2010 to 2015 was the start of the Android smartphone race for Huawei. And we are really proud. Today, we are globally the second largest Android smartphone maker, straight in 5 years. And today is extremely special. Not that we've made up to the number 2 Android smartphone maker, but the most premium Nexus, the first metal unibody design, is being crafted by Huawei. That brings us a lot of smiles. And Dave was joking with me, it's not just metal, it's aeronautical grade metal. It's extremely light, but very strong and premium. And he said, why don't you let it fly? And so this phone, Dave has already run through a lot of features. I was playing with it all night, and some of the great features that I want to highlight under the hood is a very powerful Snapdragon octa-core 64-bit processor that can support up to LTE Cat 9. That's download speeds up to 410 meg. And of course, this phone supports all the bands in India. And not just that, I did see one point that I wanted to highlight, the memory. It's 3 GB DDR4. And we're going to have spacious ROM starting from 32 GB onwards. So that's a highlight about this product. And the next great feature, I love gaming. It supports Adreno 430 GPU. Again, the best-in-class GPU. And among the premium smartphones, it has the largest battery, the 3410 mAh battery, supported with Type-C USB cable. So that's under the hood, extremely powerful. And apart from that, above the hood is a brilliant 5.7-inch screen. We heard about the pixel density, 515 ppi, and a great, body-to-screen ratio that puts it into a really, a phone that you can handle. And apart from that, you heard about the brilliant camera. And this phone, one other big highlight is the dual-ported front speakers with stereo sound, noise cancellation 3. I would request you folks to go out there, play music. It's loud, it's crisp, it's amazing. So that's Nexus 6P for you. And let's have a look at what's going to be there in India. So the Nexus 6P is going to be easily accessible to all the fans. It's available online exclusively with Flipkart, and the pre-booking starts from today, along with their Big Billion Days. And it's also available with all the top retail chains. So this time the Nexus 6P is going to be available both online and offline. And before I go to the next slide, I'm pretty excited to click it now. You all know the Nexus 6P is way up the benchmark against the premium of premium smartphones. But Google and us have tried to make it as affordable as possible for India market. So I'm happy to unveil the price is going to be $39.99 for 32 GB and $42.99 for 64 GB. It comes with 2 color options. It's going to be available with aluminum and graphite. I'm sure you folks like the price. All right, so it's just not about price. As Amit mentioned, it's about festivals, and festival means offers. So we've been trying to put together and think offers, offers, and offers. And what did we come up with? So before I get in here, with the Nexus 6P, you don't need to worry about screen damages. It's the first smartphone on Nexus with Gorilla Glass 4. And it's thanks to the metal design and the sapphire lens on the camera, you can save those disgusting scratches when you put the phone in the pocket. So that allowed us to put together some interesting offers. Go on to Flipkart and pre-book, get a Chromecast free. And that starts from today. Or go to one of our retail partners and get a premium Logitech Bluetooth speaker free. That's for pre-booking. And apart from that, we made it easy to own with extremely attractive EMIs across all leading credit card providers and 100% assured cashback up to 9 months. And also we've tied up with Bajaj Alliance for a 12 months EMI and of course a cashback on the interest component. And this is a 4G phone, so we've come up with a 4G double data offer up to 6 months. And that's Nexus 6P for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjeev. So I mentioned at the start, should we go ahead one? Yep. I mentioned at the start how excited we are about the potential for premium smartphones in India. And we're looking forward to the Nexus 5X and the 6P leading the way. At this time, I'd like to invite Rajan back on stage, as well as Mr. Kim, the Managing Director for LG in India. We'll have a photo opportunity, and also would love to invite all of our attendees over to the demo, the experience area right next door. Thank you so much for coming. Do you need a phone?
Thank you, everyone. Our speakers will be available for an interaction outside the ballroom shortly. For now, it's time to get your hands onto the devices. You can step out in the demo area, and in the ballroom, we'll also have our product experts, Krishna Kumar and Matthew Firestone, who will get into quick hurdles in group of 10 to demo the devices. The lunch will be served 12:30 onwards at the Connaught at the top floor. Thank you all once for being a part of today's event. Have a good day.